9,730 people on my webinars in the very first year they were up. That is why I'm so excited to come out to you to talk webinars. What the heck's the difference between an evergreen webinar and an automated webinar and a live webinar? We're going to talk about that today and how to choose the best type of webinar for your business. And it seems complicated, right? But in fact, it's not. So the very first thing that I just want to share with you is I did not have to have 9,730 people show up live on my webinar in order to get them to watch my webinar. I was able to set up an evergreen system where they could register and I didn't have to show up live. Now that sounds like the dream, right? We just want to have them go watch something, get introduced to us, fall in love with us, and buy our stuff. That is what an evergreen webinar is, but is it where you should start? Probably not. So we're going to be talking about all of that today and the power of the webinar to actually fill your programs, products, and services with amazing clients. So first off, should you even have a webinar? Yes, as long as your price point is over about $300. So if you're selling something between $300 and about $50,000, a webinar is going to be a great sales strategy for you because it allows your people to get more about you, understand more about you, fall in love with the work that you do, for you to showcase why you are the only one that can help them. If you missed out on their messaging videos, you're going to want to check out that. We'll include some of the links in here below. But webinars, brilliant strategy for selling over $300 to up to $50,000. But your strategy on the webinar is going to look a little bit different. If you're selling something between $300 and $1,000, you're going to make a direct invitation for somebody to buy from you on the webinar. If your price point is over $1,000, if you're new, if you're well experienced, you might be able to sell something higher priced. I've sold something recently for $5,000 on my webinar, and we did quite well on the conversions. We converted 7% of the people who were watching into an actual paid $5,000 program. Now, but if you're newer, under $1,000 is what I recommend. If you're over $1,000, you're going to want to get those people onto the phone with you. So you're going to make an invitation on your webinar for them to book a call with you. You're going to want to send them to a webinar funnel to register for the webinar, but you're going to want to send them to an intrigue high ticket conversation funnel to book that call with you in order for you to get them on the phone with you and, fall in love with you and your product coming out of there. Now, here's the good news about those sales calls is they can be much shorter than sending somebody cold to that sales call. If they're coming out of a webinar, you probably can do about a 30-minute call, maybe even a 20-minute call once you're experienced. If it was cold, you probably have to be quite a bit longer depending on the price point. So that is the power of the webinar and when you should use a webinar. Now I want to talk evergreen versus live versus automated. What the heck is the difference? So a live webinar is something where you're going to send somebody a link after they register for a live webinar. You're going to show up on Zoom or some webinar platform, and those people are going to be there with you live. They can send you chat messages. You're seeing the chat messages. You can answer any objections they're having about your offer. And so a live webinar is really great and easy to get started with because it allows you to see what your clients don't get when they're watching you. Now, evergreen is where you take that live recorded webinar and you turn it into a recording, and somebody can register at any time and show up for that webinar and see it usually pretty quick, within 15 minutes or so. Now, my business has been built on using both live and evergreen webinars. Now, an automated webinar is quite similar to the evergreen webinar, but it might often be shorter. So we'd have somebody opt in a webinar registration funnel. Again, links below to explain what that is a little bit more to other free videos for you. So you're going to be able to see somebody register, and on the thank you page, they're going to get an automated webinar. We don't want to make those hugely long. Like I do lots of my 2-hour workshops are live. I would never do an automated webinar where somebody was getting it immediately on the thank you page 2 hours. You want to keep those definitely under an hour, maybe closer to half an hour in your automated webinar. That's my details on when to use a webinar. It was how I was able to get so many people on my webinars in the first year and scale my business so quickly. I love webinars because they allow me to teach and really bring in clients easily because they get a chance to taste what I have to offer on those webinars. So I hope you found this helpful. Check out the resources in the comments below, and don't forget to hit subscribe if you like these videos and want more of them. We'll see you soon.